Hello everyone, welcome to upGrad.com's interactive Python tutorial for beginners. This course provides a detailed understanding of Python and its various concepts using industrial use cases and easy to understand approach. So whether you are a fresher in Python or an experienced programmer, this course is intended for everyone who wishes to learn Python. You are welcome to join our industry-oriented programs on this course. For more details, please click on the link in the description below. You are also welcome to join our groups on Facebook or LinkedIn for questions, discussions, or updates. Let us get started with the agenda of today's session, everyone. So, this session covers everything that will help you to get started with Python programming. So, in this session, we'll be learning about what Python is and what are the features of Python. Then, we'll be talking about setting up the environment, which is the Anaconda distribution. Then we'll be going a little deeper into the Python concepts such as keywords, identifiers, and data types. Then once we are well versed with these concepts, we'll be moving further with loops, functions, and their types. So let us get started with the fundamentals of Python, which is what is Python, or let us understand why Python is the most preferred choice for many developers and communities around the globe. Let us understand what Python is, guys. So Python is a popular programming language. It was created by Guido van Rossum and was released in 1991. Well, the interesting fact is that Python is named after the comedy television show Monty Python's Flying Circus. So yes, you heard it right, right? So it is not named after a python snake. Now, Python is very popular because of its main feature, which is it is a multi-purpose programming language. Now, what does it mean? It means that you can use Python for various purposes, such as web development, such as you can use it for desktop application development. You can use it for writing scripts. You can use it for data analysis. You can use it for game development or desktop application development or machine learning. So it is widely used because of its multi-purpose characteristics. Apart from that, Python is very popular for its code readability. The codings which are written in using the Python programming are easy to read and easy to learn compared to other programming languages. Let us look at some of the areas of applications of Python. So here, Python is being used in various domains such as artificial intelligence, deep learning models, GUI developments, or which is called desktop application developments, web applications, system automation, and so on. So it has a wide usage in various domains. So there are millions of developers around the globe who are using Python for their day-to-day programming or for product developments. There are many developers out there who are migrating their projects from their technologies, from their native technologies to Python because of its features and characteristics. Now let us understand why Python is the first choice for many programmers or the community of developers around the globe. To understand the reasons, let us look at some of the features of Python here. So, the very first feature of Python is object oriented. Now, what is object orientation? Basically, it is a feature of this programming language which enables the programmers or the coders to map their codes to the real world entities. Secondly, it is open source, means it is free to use. Anybody can use it and download it. Then it has got a powerful library, which means that it has got lots of features in it which can be used for programming purposes. It is portable, which means that I can or we can use this Python programming or Python codes to shift from one system to another system easily. It is platform independent, which means that it can run on any operating system, whether it is Mac, Linux, or Windows. As I told you earlier, it is multi-purpose also, which means I can use Python for various applications, such as desktop applications or websites or machine learning. Apart from that, there are many other reasons to choose Python from. But here I have specified only the most important ones. As we have understood what Python is and what are the features for its adoption, for its wide adoption, so let us understand how to set up Python in our system. To set up Python in our system, we have to install an application called Anaconda. Anaconda is a distribution. What does it mean? It means that Anaconda distribution contains everything that you will be requiring or needing for the Python development. It has got everything in terms of libraries. So it has got all the popular libraries pre-installed. It has got Python pre-installed. Apart from that, Anaconda distribution also includes the popular coding editors, or we call it IDE as well, which will help us in developing our applications. So it has got the popular code editors or the IDEs such as Jupyter or Spider. Let us look at the installation URL here. So this is anaconda.com/distribution. If you follow this URL, you'll be able to download the Anaconda distribution, and as per your operating system, and the recommended version is Python 3.7, right? So you are requested to go to this URL and download the setup. Once you have downloaded the setup from anaconda.com/distribution, you will find an installer like this. I'm using Windows, so this installation is as per the Windows. You are supposed to double click on it and it will show an installer, or you can say a wizard. So this is getting started here. So here in my system, Anaconda is pre-installed, but here the installation of Anaconda distribution is pretty easy to do. All you have to do is you have to click on the next button and you have to follow the procedure. In my system, the Anaconda is already installed, so that is why I'm not proceeding with the Anaconda installation, because it will uninstall my existing one. But here, there is no hard configuration or such configuration which is required to follow. You just follow the recommended installations steps and just click on the next and finally finish. Once the installation is successfully done, let us do a small testing on whether the installation is successful or not. For testing the installation of the Python environment, we'll do a first program on Python, which is called the Hello World. So let us do a first demonstration on Hello World program. In this process, I'll be telling you about how to work on Anaconda environment, or how to work on Anaconda distribution. In order to work on Anaconda distribution, first of all, go to the programs and search for Anaconda Navigator. Well, this is how Anaconda Navigator looks like. This is the Anaconda dashboard. Here, we'll be using the Jupyter notebook for our coding requirements or coding practices. Now, what is Jupyter? Jupyter is basically a web-based interactive notebook environment, or you can call it IDE as well, which is also called Integrated Development Environment. Now, Jupyter provides you all the features that will help you in coding Python, in compiling and executing the Python codes. So let us get started and let's launch the Jupyter notebook here. Once you launch the Jupyter notebook, it will be launched in a web browser. Now here, I'll be telling you about how to get started with Jupyter Notebook. So first of all, you have to move to the top right corner here and click on the new drop down. Then click on Python 3 here. It will open a new tab, and this is called a notebook. Well, notebook is basically your workspace where you write Python instructions and do the programming. Click here at the top to name your Python notebook here, and I'm naming it Lab 1. This is called a cell. Cell is the place where you exactly write the codes. So let us, first of all, print a message in Python. For printing a message in Python, I'm using a function here called print. Now this is the syntax of using the print function. So whatever message you want to print, to the user, just include that message within the double quotes. Now let us understand how to run this program. Simply click on the run button here. Once you click on run button, you will be able to execute your current cell, and this is how the output looks like. Now that this is the first demonstration on Hello World of Python. So guys, we have successfully completed our first demonstration on Hello World program. So in this demonstration, we get to know that what a Jupyter is and how to work on Jupyter, how to create a new notebook. Then this is a cell. Then we use the print function for calling uh, for printing the messages, and that is Hello World. I used this run button for executing the current cell. Now in the next slide, I'm going to tell you how you can describe your codes using comments. So here we are learning about comments, everyone. What is a comment basically? A comment is basically a statement which is prefixed with a symbol called hash. Hash is for creating a comment in Python. Comments are used to provide description of your codes. They make your program more readable, and comments are also ignored by the compiler or the interpreter of Python specifically. So if you want to describe your code in Python, you can use comments. You can use comments for various purposes. Let us understand what are keywords in Python. Well, keywords are a set of keywords that are reserved words which cannot be used as variable names, function names, or any other identifiers. Keywords are also case sensitive. Here, you can see some list of keywords here such as false, none, true, and so on. Well, these keywords serve a specific purpose and produce a specific behavior while being used in the Python programming. So in the upcoming demonstrations, I'll be using many of the keywords and I'll be explaining how these keywords function. So let us understand some variables and identifiers in Python. Well, in order to understand identifier and variables, let us understand variables first of all. What is a variable? A variable can be called as a container which is used to store data in Python. You can visualize a container or a variable in the following shape. Well, this container is supposed to store data in it, so let us say it stores 10 in it. Now, in order to access this container, I need a name here, so I'll just call it, let's say, bag. Now, this name which I'm using for accessing this container is called identifier. And a variable is basically a container in memory which is used for storing the data. So here you can see some examples of identifiers here, such as meter, name, and distance. These identifiers are basically creating an in-memory representation of a container which is storing the value or a constant 10. Here in this example, you can see that in Python we can create various types of variables in Python. So here when I say type, basically I mean data type. What is a data type? A data type is basically a medium through which a programmer knows, or you can say the Python environment knows, what kind of value a variable is going to hold. So here, this variable is holding the value 10, which is an integer variable or integer value. Here, these set of characters are called string. If the number is a decimal value, it is called as float type. The values such as true and false are all called Boolean, or in short, bool. Now, these values are called complex numbers. So here in Python, we can use a function called type to extract the data type of a given variable. So here, I'm extracting the type of meter. So in order to get the type of meter, I'm calling the type function. Here you can see that it is printing int. Similarly, for the name, it is printing string, and so on. Now let us understand the data type in detail. Well, here you can see the hierarchy of the data types here. Now, data types are nothing but they are used for classification or categorization of the data items. Data type represents a kind of value which determines what operations can be performed on that specific data, whether it is numeric or non-numeric or even Boolean. So here in this hierarchy, you can see some of the categories of the data here. Now, data type can be categorized into two sections here, which is immutable and mutable. Immutable data types are those data types which cannot be modified or updated. We can call them read-only as well. So mutable data types are those data types which can be edited or modified or updated. So I'll just call them editable. Let us understand with an example of, let's say, days. We know that there are 7 days in a week. So day is an immutable data because as per the real term, we cannot update or modify any day or any day in the week. Mutable is can be an example of, let's say, grocery list. So grocery list can be an example of a mutable data where we can add or remove items in the grocery list. So the variables that we create using the numbers, strings, or tuples are immutable, means they are read-only, or the objects. Whereas the objects that we create under the mutable category by using list, dictionaries, or set are always editable. Now, once we have understood the data types, let us understand the operators in Python. So what are operators? So operators are basically the special symbols in Python that carry out arithmetic or logical operations, or you can say computations. Well, operators works on operand, and we have various types of operators in Python, such as arithmetic, assignment, comparison, logical, and so on. Let us look at a practical demonstration and let us see how these operators are used in Python. Let us discuss operators and variables in detail here during this code demonstration. So as you can see here, first of all, I've declared a variable x with the value 7, then a variable y with the value 3. So here, first of all, we're printing the type of the variable x, which is prints x as class int. Now here you can see that it is printing class as well, because in Python every object, every variable belongs to a particular class here, and this x belongs to int class. Then here we are printing the type of y, which is again int. Then we are printing the value of x, which is 7, and we are printing the value of y, which is 3. Now further we will do operations using operator on these two variables x and y. Now the very first operator that we are discussing here is arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are used to perform mathematical operations such as additions, subtraction, multiplications, and so on. So here you can see various operations here, right? So these are the operators using which we will be performing various operations on the x and y operands here. So here, this is an example of addition, which is 10, subtraction, division. So here, division, this is the operator for multiplication. This is also division, but it is a floor division. What is a floor division basically? So if we divide 7 by 2, sorry, 3, we will get 3.5. Sorry, 2.5. Now here, the floor division basically means that the result will be round figured to the base number or the base whole number. So here, this 2.5 will be reduced to 2 as the base number, right, or the lower number, the lower round number of 2.5 is 2. Then this is modulo. Modulo is for remainder. So what does it mean? If we try to divide 7 by 3, we'll get 1 as the remainder. So that's why we are getting 1. Now here, this is basically the power operator, double star, which basically means raised to the power. So it basically means 7 raised to the power 3. Yeah. So 7 raised to the power 7 3 times, right? Yeah, 7 raised to the power 3. That is 7 into 7 into 7. Now here we have relational operators. Relational operators are used to compare the values. So the operators that we have here are greater than. It returns either true or false based on the comparison. So here 7 is greater than 3, which is true. Similarly, 7 is less than 3, which is false. Then double equals to is for comparing the two values for equality. So again it is false. And likewise, it is not equals to 7 not equals to 3, 7 greater than equals to 3, which is true, and 7 less than equals to 3, which is false. Then finally, we have membership operator here. Membership operators are basically used to check the existence of a given input on a given value. For example, here in this expression, we are checking whether the alphabet A occurs or exists in the apple. So it occurs or exists, so that's why it is returning true, which means membership operators also return the Boolean value. So this is B not in apple, which is also true because B is not there in apple. And B in apple means we are checking whether B is there in apple. So it is not there, so that's why it is returning false. All right, so we have successfully done some of the demonstrations on arithmetic operators, comparison operators, and membership operators. We are going to explore more operators in our upcoming demonstrations with their practical usage. So now I'm going to take you to my next concept here, which will make Python more interesting, and that is loops. So what is a loop in Python, everyone, right? So basically loop is nothing, but it is, you can say it is a circular execution. Yes, you heard me right. It is a circular execution. Now, what is the need of a circular execution means what is the purpose, right? So basically loop is used in situations where the task or the activity is repeating in nature, right? So for example, let's say if I ask you to say hello 10 times, let's say. So if the task is to say hello 10 times. So if you look at this example, in this example, the task is repetitive in nature. So such as printing hello 10 times, such as, accessing each element of your data one by one. So these are some of the examples of, tasks which are repeated in nature. So anytime if you find that the task is repeated in nature, make sure to use loops at that point of time. So let us understand how many types of loops are there in Python. So here we have three different types of loops in Python. One is for loop, second is while loop, and third is nested loop. Let us look at these loops one by one here. So before we start coding demonstrations with loops, let us understand the anatomy of a loop here. So here I have taken an example of a flow chart. This flow chart will help us in understanding how loop works in Python or in any programming language. So here, first of all, we need some recipes or some ingredients, we can say, for forming a loop. So here, you need a tracker, right? A tracker. You need a condition here for the termination of the circular execution. And then you need increment or decrement of the tracker to meet the condition, right? So let us take an example here, everyone. Suppose there is a variable called n with the value 0. We'll follow the arrow to move to the directions here. So we'll get down here, we will check for this condition. So if the arrow if the arrow which is there less than, so if the n is less than 10, so the condition is true because the n is 0. We'll follow the arrow here and we'll print the n. So if we follow this statement here, this will print 0. Now we'll follow the arrow once again. We will increase the n by 1. So the previous value of n was 0. Now it will be from 0 to 1. And then we will check once again if the n, which is 1, is less than 10 or equals to 10. So in this case, it is true. We'll go to the yes, and then we'll print the n once again, which is 1. Then we will increase the n by 1. The n will increase from 1 to 2. We'll check it one more time. If the n, which is 2, is less than or equals to 10, so the answer is yes, we'll print the n, which is 2. We'll increase the n by 1 once again, and then the n will become 3, and then we'll keep on checking. So here in this execution, I want you to feel the circular execution. If you follow the arrow, you will find that it is a circular execution. Now here, it will keep on printing the numbers till the time the n is less than or equals to 10. So let us suppose that the print n prints 10 here, and then if we follow the step, increase n by 1, so we'll increase the n to 11. We'll come here, we'll check for the condition if the n is less than or equals to 10. So 11 is not less than or equal to 10, so it will follow the no sequence here and it will terminate the program. So the output of this flowchart is from 0 to 10. So we constructed a loop here by creating a tracker, the condition, and the increment, which will help meet the condition here finally. Now this is an example of how a loop functions in Python. Now let us look at a programming demonstration on how to construct a loop in Python. So let's open Jupyter and let's do some action. Alright, so here we have this notebook open, and in this notebook we'll be executing our demonstrations on loops, and with that we'll try to understand how loop functions in Python. So first of all, in order to understand loops in Python, we have to learn a function, a built-in function called range. Now, range is a very handy function which helps us in constructing or forming a loop. How does range function works? Let us understand in detail. Now, the range function is basically a generator. It's a generator. It helps us in generating a series of numbers. So let us look at an example here how it generates a number. For example, let's say if I execute the following code range and with the argument 5, it will generate a series of number which will always start from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here you need to observe two aspects here. One is that range function always generates a number from 0. And finally, it generates a number till whatever limit we have specified minus 1. So the limit that I provided here is 5. So it is going to generate the numbers till 4. Now, how does this range function functions or works in a loop? So let us look at this example here. The very first example is of a for loop. Now, for x in range 5, colon. First of all, I would like to introduce you to the syntax of the for loop here. Now, first of all, you can see here there is a range function here which has got the argument of 5. Now, it is going to generate numbers from 0 to 4. Now, this for loop will extract the numbers from the range function and will assign all the numbers into x one by one. So the very first value which will be assigned to x will be 0. Now the next task is what to do with the x. We will print the x. So this is going to print 0. Now, because loops functions circularly, so we have to move the execution like this. So you can look at the pointer here, right? So look at the circular execution. Now the for keyword will extract the next number from the range, which is 1, and it will assign it to x, overriding the previous value. Now the new value of x would be 1, and now if we print x, it is going to print 1. Similarly, range function will provide us the next value, which is 2, and will be assigned to x, and we will print it, so it will print 2. Now in the same manner, it is going to print 3 and 4. Now here, I'm going to execute this cell, and let us look at the output here. Let's do it one more time, and this time I'm going to use shortcuts for executing the cell. The shortcut that I'm using for executing the cell is Shift plus Enter. Shortcuts really help me in increasing my productivity. They help me execute the cell faster so that I can save my time on clicking the run button. So let us execute, and here you can see how we are able to generate the numbers from 0 to 9, and we can iterate through each and every number one by one, and we can print them. Apart from that, I also would like to bring your attention to this indent. Now indent basically defines the scope in a Python. What is a scope basically? A scope defines the boundaries, or you can say the areas where the code lies. So this indent basically specifies that this statement is within the for loop. If I do not follow the indent, you can look at the current position of my cursor. I'm not following the indent here. So this will be printed once only, because this line is not following the indent of the for loop. I'm going to execute this by pressing the Shift Enter here, and you can see that it is being printed only once, not 10 times. All right, with that, let us move to our next loop, which is the while loop. First of all, the while loop is a very customized loop in Python. In while loop, we have better control over every aspect of a loop, whether it is initialization. So you can look at this. This is a variable that I'm using here. Its name is meter with the value 1. So here, this is initialization. And this is the condition, everyone. So you can call it termination, right? Print meter, and this is meter plus equals to 1, which is equivalent to meter equals to meter plus 1, right? So that is a short expression I'm using. So this is your increment or decrement. Now here, this is the syntax of a while loop, everyone. So in while loop, first of all, we create a variable or a tracker. Here I'm initializing the variable with the value 1. Now this is a condition which will keep on our loop running. So this loop, basically like this circular execution, will keep on running till the time the condition is being met. So once the condition is false, this loop will terminate. So here we're checking if the meter is less than 10. So meter is starting from 1, so it is obviously less than 10. So it will print the meter, which is 1. Now to meet the condition, what we have to do is we have to increment the meter so that it reaches 10 and beyond. So here we are incrementing the value of meter by 1. So if I execute the current cell, you can look at the output here. It is starting from 1 till 10. So this is an example of a while loop, everyone, and this is the syntax. Let us learn some of the keywords which are associated with loops. The keywords are break, continue. So break is a keyword which is used to terminate a loop. So I'll be showing you how we can terminate a loop using the break keyword. Whereas continue is a keyword which is used to skip the current iteration or execution. So let us do a small practical and let us try to understand how these loops are used, how these keywords, sorry, are used in Python. So here I'm creating a loop here which will print the numbers from 1 to 10. So you can see an overloaded version of range function here means a new form of range function. So it is starting to ask the start and the end, right? And remember, it is always limit minus 1 or end minus 1. So it is going to print the x. So you can see here it is printing the numbers from 1 till 10. But let's say I want to put a condition here, right? So to put a condition, I'm going to use another keyword from Python, which is the if keyword. Now, if is used to check the conditions. So if the value of x matches 5, right? If the value of x matches 5, I want to terminate the loop. So here, for terminating the loop, I'm using a keyword called break. So let us execute and let's see if this keyword break functioning properly. So you can see here that the loop has terminated when the condition met. So when the x was 5, the loop terminated. Now let us do another demonstration on understanding the continue statement here. For the continue statement, we will do the similar demonstration of printing the numbers from 1 to 10. Now we'll apply a condition here once again using the if keyword. So if the value of keyword matches 5, I want to continue. Now what continue does, whenever the continue keyword executes or it occurs in the execution, the further code, so whatever code is written beyond the continue keyword or after the continue keyword is skipped. So I'm repeating myself here once again, it is skipped. So let us execute this demonstration. Here you can see in the output that it is printing from 1 to 10, but if you observe here, so it is printing 6 just after the 4. So here it did not print the value of 5 because when the x was 5, it executed the keyword continue. So because of continue, the further code which is written after the continue could not execute and was skipped. So this is an example of continue keyword. Let us do another demonstration on understanding how the loops can be used in Python. For understanding the usage of loops in Python, let's calculate the sum of first 10 numbers. For calculating the first of 10 numbers, here I'm creating a variable called sum with the value 0. Let us run a loop for the first 10 numbers. And here, instead of printing the x, I am adding the x in the sum. Now this expression might look weird to you, so I'm expanding that expression with this one. So you can see here, this expression basically means that the old sum and the new value of x will be updating the sum. So let's go out of the for loop scope and let's print the sum. The sum of first 10 numbers is sum. So here you can see that the sum of first 10 numbers is 55. So this is an example of how a loop can be used in Python for solving basic problems here. We'll be seeing some more interesting scenarios and situations where a loop can be used for solving higher level problems. Let us understand nested loops in Python. For understanding nested loops in Python, I'm going to take an example here. So in this example, we will be printing the combinations or the number combinations between 1 and 3. So the output would look like 1 1, 1 2, 1 3, 2 1, 2 2, 2 3, 3 1, 3 2, 3 3. For printing this pattern, we'll be using the nested loop here. So first of all, let us create our outer loop for x in range 1, comma 4. Print x. So here it is a very easy loop here for printing the values or the numbers between 1 and 3. So I want you to remember the value of x, which is 1 in the first iteration, 2 in the second iteration, 3 in the third iteration. Now here we will add one more loop for y in range 1, comma 4. Print y. If you look at the output here, first of all, you will see 1 2 3, 1 2 3, and 1 2 3. So because this loop is running 3 times, so this loop is also running 3 times because of the outer loop. Now here we are printing y, which is 1, then 2, and then 3, then going to the outer loop, coming to inner loop, then 1, 2, and 3, going to the outer loop, then coming to the inner loop, 1, 2, and 3. Now for every iteration, we'll print x as well. Look at the output. The value of x remains constant here, 1, 1, and 1. The value of y changes 1, 2, and 3. So let us start from the beginning. The value of x is 1. This loop will run 3 times. So 1, 1, 1 with the value of y as 2, 1 with the value of y as 3. Similarly, we'll go to the external loop, then the x becomes 2. This loop runs 3 times. It will be 2 with the value of y as 1, 2 with the value of y as 2, and 2 with the value of y as 3. Then we'll go to the external loop. Now in this way, this loop completes and print all the possible combinations between 1 and 3. So this is an example of how a nested loop looks like and functions in Python. So now we have completed all the types of loops in Python. The very first one was for loop, second was while loop, and the third was nested for loop. I hope you have understood all the types of loops here. If you have any doubts on any of the concepts here, you can tell us by providing the description in the comments below. Let us understand what functions are in Python. Now functions are basically block of codes, or you can call them smaller pieces of codes or chunks of codes. Now we create functions in Python to divide our bigger code into smaller modules. Now in the production softwares, the number of lines of code is really huge. It can range from some thousands to many lakhs, or in many cases, in enterprise applications, it is in millions. So how do we manage such huge size of code? So that can be divided into smaller blocks using functions. These smaller blocks of code or functions are also reusable components. We can reuse these blocks any number of times we want. Let us look at the types of functions we have in Python. Now, first of all, I would like to bring your attention at the bottom here in the syntax of this greet function. So this greet function is user defined, means we as a developer has coded this function. Now this is a user defined function, means we have produced it for our own purpose as a developer. Now there are some built-in functions as well, which are library provided or are already available when we install the Python in our system, such as paw. Paw is for power. We have used some other functions as well, such as range, which is also an example of built-in function, such as type. We use type functions for extracting the data type of the given variable. So these are some of the examples of built-in functions. Let us look at a practical demonstration on how to define functions in Python. In this demonstration, we will see the syntax and the usage of functions in Python. So let us get back to the Jupyter notebook. In this notebook, we will start with the demonstration on functions. So, understanding functions in Python. So here, we will learn how to create user-defined functions in Python. So the very first function I'm going to create is greet, def greet. So def is a keyword in Python which is used for defining a function. So here, hello from Python. So this is a function and it contains a single line of code which is a print statement which prints hello from Python. Functions do not execute on their own. We need to execute functions. So in order to execute functions or call functions, we'll call functions like this. So you can see here, I'm able to call the function greet hello from Python. As I told you earlier, functions are also reusable components, so I can call the functions as many times as I want. So here you can see that I can reuse the functions by calling them again and again. Now further, functions can be expanded to parameterized functions. Now parameterized functions are those functions which can receive the data from the external sources. For example, def get square n. So here n is a parameter. Parameter helps in receiving the data from external world or external sources. So it prints the square of number. So whatever the number is, it is going to print itself by multiplying with itself. So let us look at the practical demonstration of how this function is used. I need to provide a number here actually. So here, by calling the getSquare function, I'm passing 5 as the argument. So the data that you provide to the function is called argument. It goes into the n, and n becomes 5. It prints 5 into 5, which is 25. Apart from that, we can create functions that return the value. So this is the another form of function which is really helpful in various scenarios. So here, I'm going to create another function called getQ. Now this function returns n raised to the power 3. So let me show you here. Result equals to getQ 3, and let us print result. So you can see here, you can print the cube of 3 as 27. So basically, this function which is being called here, this 3, is getting stored in n. So this is returning us n raised to the power 3, which is 27. So whenever a function returns using the return keyword, we have to declare a variable on the left side of the equals to expression. Now every function that returns a value has to have a variable here, which will receive the returned value. So this return will return n raised to the power 3, which is 3 raised to the power 3, and the computed value will be stored in result. So here, the response would be 27. So in the following demonstration, we saw that how to create user-defined functions in Python. We also learned that how to create parameterized functions in Python. Apart from that, the return type functions. So just to give you a summary here, a function is a group of related statements that perform a specific task. Functions basically help you in breaking the program into smaller or modular chunks. As a program grows larger and larger, functions make it more organized and manageable. Now, I have some quick tips for you to be a better programmer or the standard practices of the coding. Now here, I would like to encourage to provide comments in your program or the code which will help you in describing the lines of code. Congratulations, you are now a coder. If you have any doubts or queries, do share your questions in the comment section below. Hit the bell icon, like, share, and subscribe if you liked our explanation of the subject. Thank you for watching the video. Happy learning.